Good morning. It is spring on the farm and a chilly March day, and we have lots to get done. It's Saturday, and so Lane is off work and he's going to be helping me out in the garden. And some of the things that we're going to do today are build another greenhouse because we have run out of room in our small greenhouse, so we're going to build another small one. Start some seeds. I need to start some melons and watermelon and eggplants. And Lydia and I are going to clear some more rows in the garden, and Lane and Richard are going to work on building the garden fence. And then of course we have meals and laundry and all kinds of fun things getting ready for Sunday tomorrow. So it's going to be a busy day. I'm on my second cup of coffee, feeling good. So follow along and enjoy our day with us. Black bean soup to put on the stove so that we can have that for lunch when we come in from working out in the garden. So it's going to be a no recipe, super easy soup. I've got a couple of cans of black beans that I canned up a while ago, and some corn that I canned from the summer. I don't know if you can see. Corn and black beans, and then some diced tomatoes. And then I just am going to throw in whatever spices I happen to have on hand. I have some wild garlic that I found on our property a couple of weeks ago. And if you go to Instagram, I'll link the my Instagram in this video. If you go to Instagram, I'll show you how I foraged it and dehydrated it. An onion and some cumin seeds. So, and some oregano. So all of that's going to go in with some bone broth and let it simmer. When I come in from working out in the garden, then I'll just run an immersion blender through it to kind of make it a little bit creamier. And that's what we're going to have for lunch with some homemade sourdough tortillas. I've got the dough for that in the oven. It's been slow fermenting, so that'll be ready when we come in.
So I'm going to start by chopping up this onion, and I'm going to saute it in some olive oil while I get the beans ready to go into the soup. We usually add onion to a lot of our meals as a way to stretch it a little bit further because organic onion is pretty cheap, and it just helps our meals to go a little bit further, and it can go in just about any kind of food we're eating.
roast. I have a rump roast here, which is going to give us a lot of meat. And then I have a chuck roast, which is going to give us a lot of fat. And it's got a bone in it, so it'll give us some bone broth while they're cooking. And I forgot to take them out, so hopefully they thaw in time. But we'll do that for pot roast for dinner tonight, and then turn it into French dip sandwiches for dinner tomorrow night, if it thaws in time. So we'll see. All right, so I've moved outside now. I'm gonna get some seeds started. I'm gonna start some celery and then 2 packages of eggplant. I have Utah tall celery and Rosa Bianca eggplant and Listada di Gandia eggplant. So, my kids are coming running up right now. So what I'm gonna do is put my seeds in here.
Hello.
For a minute. Come over here, bud, so you can be seen.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Richard.
Can you say hi, Lydia?
Hi, yeah.
Hi, Lydia. All right. So I've got these little seed starting trays right here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna get 3 of them going.
Mommy, it's okay. We can put that right by together, and we know which one's on. Or go say side.
Yeah. Hey, would you go grab me that metal cup over there, please, buddy? All right. And then Lane brought in a big bucket of compost that we have out in our yard. So I'm going to start my seeds in compost.
Oh yeah, it will come too.
All right, bring it here, please. And I have this soil blocker, but I've kind of found that eventually I have to cut the seedlings out anyway to transport them into something bigger once they grow big enough. So one of the fastest, it takes a long time to pack the soil blocker and push it down and everything. And so I really just use it to mark where the seeds go. It's got 4 little prongs that put dips in the soil, and then I drop my seeds in there. So what I usually do is just fill the tray up with dirt and then press the thing down through, press the soil blocker down through, good! And drop the seeds in the little holes, cover it back up, spray them with the water, and they'll go into the greenhouse. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that right away.
So this first tray that I'm doing is eggplants, and I'm just putting 1 seed in each hole. A successful germination rate is actually about 50%, so sometimes people put 2 seeds in per hole, but I find that you don't really know which seed is going to germinate and which one isn't, obviously, and you can end up losing a seed that way. If it's not going to germinate, it doesn't really matter. And now I'm putting in my celery seed. Those seeds are much, much smaller and much harder to do 1 per hole, and so I'm just kind of putting in whatever I can get in there, get off of my finger, and get into the seed starting hole. And so I'll probably end up needing to thin those out as those germinate, and then just covering them up with dirt. And then once I'm done covering them up with dirt, I'll go ahead and mist them with a little bit of water. Seeds are actually very sensitive to water, so even the moisture on your hands could be enough to make a seed start to germinate, and then if it isn't given the proper conditions, it could die. So you want to be really careful not handling your seeds until you're absolutely ready to plant.
The morning sun, and it's very small, which is why Lane is working on building another one today. And so I'm going to go ahead and open it up and give you a little tour. We're hoping one day to build a much bigger one, but that will take time. All right, well, Lane and the kids have been playing outside all And I've got my soup. It's been simmering and I'm about to blend it up in just a minute, but first I'm gonna go ahead and make some tortillas, some sourdough tortillas to go with our lunch. And then when Lane and the kids come in, we'll have fresh tortillas and soup and get everybody fed for lunch and then get the kids down for their naps. So this is a really easy recipe and I'm gonna include a link to the recipe in the description below, so check that out. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the dough out, get some flour on it, because it's kind of a wetter dough, and then cut it up into probably 12 to 24 pieces depending on how much I have. Here's my tortilla press. It's a cast iron press. And I've just got some parchment paper here that I put down, one on the bottom, one on the top, press it, and then I cook it in a cast iron skillet that is heating up real gently over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that.
So I cut my tortilla dough into 16 balls, and this dough is a little bit wetter than other doughs that I've made in the past, so I'm going to roll each one in a little bit of flour before I put it in between the pieces of parchment paper and into the tortilla press. And you want to press down as firmly as you can. When you're cooking the tortillas, you want to cook it about 1 minute on the first side and then about 30 seconds on the other side. So you're going to have to play around with the temperature to get it right. Once you're done pressing the tortilla, it will look like this, and you're going to peel the top piece of parchment paper off, and then that should come off pretty easily. And then the bottom piece of parchment paper, you're going to want to peel off very, very carefully. I usually add olive oil to my pans about every other tortilla. And then once you peel that bottom layer of parchment paper off, you're going to take your raw tortilla and put it directly into the skillet and cook it right away. Alright, my tortillas are done and I'm keeping them in a warm oven, and now I'm going to go ahead and grab my immersion blender and blend up my soup a little bit. I'm just trying to make it creamier and a little bit thicker. I'm not going to blend the beans all the way into it. I'm still going to leave some of the vegetables in there kind of chunky so that it's a little bit heartier for us. And now I'm going to add the corn to my soup. I waited to add it until after I was done blending the rest of it because I didn't want to blend up the corn in with the rest of the vegetables. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that in now and finish heating it up with the corn in it, and then it will be ready to serve. The last thing I'm going to do before we sit down and eat is make our kids chocolate milk. We don't actually put any chocolate in this milk. It's a really healthy combination of raw milk with blackstrap unsulfured molasses. And we mix it together and it kind of gives it a chocolatey color, and our kids love it. They drink it up. faster than we can keep it into their cups. If you're curious about the health benefits of raw milk, be sure to check out my Instagram page. I have a whole stories highlight on there of the benefits and the reasons why you might want to consider switching to raw milk. I highly recommend you check it out. And if you have kids who may not be used to it quite yet, definitely look into adding the molasses. It adds a really delicious flavor. And raw milk is naturally sweet, so all you really need to do is just add the molasses if they're wanting that, or you can just give it to them plain. But it will be sweet enough for them without having to add anything else. All right, we got the kids down for their naps and the meat thawed in plenty of time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get ready to make our pot roast. This is a super easy pot roast that I'm going to make. We don't have a ton of vegetables on hand right now. Normally I would add potatoes and mushrooms, but I don't have any today. So I'm just gonna slice up this onion and let it saute in the pot while I'm getting the roast ready. And then once the roast is ready, I'm going to brown it in the skillet on both sides, pour in a jar of homemade chicken bone broth, and let it cook on the stove. I'm going to bring it to a boil and then let it cook on the stove on low for about 3 hours.
There's a crying baby in the background. We got dinner started. It's going to be ready soon. Yeah, and the kitchen cleaned up, and I feel like we did something else.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is now. So anyway, my ankle is really starting to hurt, so I'm going to sit down and rest for the rest of the day so that I'm not totally useless tomorrow. I'd like to go to church and enjoy myself. And we're going to play a game together, aren't we, Lydia?
Yeah.
Yes, Lydia and I are going to play a game together. Lane got the fence started and the greenhouse put up. So all in all, it's been a very productive day. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon, so that's where we're gonna call it quits.
On the rock.
What, sweetie?
And fall down the rocky.
Did you fall down on the rocks?
Yeah.
Did that hurt?
Yeah.
Were you so brave?
Yeah.
There you go. Lydia fell down on the rocks, but she was a very brave girl. Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you have had as much fun following along as we have had, and we can't wait to see you next time. Say, see you next time, lady.
Yeah.
Bye.